What's good, y'all? It all comes down to this. We are at the finals of the NBA Cup. Whoever wins this next game is the NBA Cup champions. Of course, we have the OKC Thunder going up against the Milwaukee Bucks in this one. The Thunder beat the Rockets in the semifinals to make it to this game. It was a pretty close game in the first half, but in that second half, OKC started to pull away and didn't really look back. Their defense was the main story in that game. Pretty much everyone not named Amen Thompson on the Rockets had a pretty rough game offensively, and a lot of that is to the versatile and very threatening defense of the Thunder. And then on offense, Shai had a little bit of an off night, if you want to call it that. He wasn't his efficient self, but still ended up with 30 points. And then also when you add in Lu Dort, who had a near 20-point game, J-Dub had 20 of his own, and then Isaiah Hartenstein, career high 21 points. OKC was able to pretty much coast to a victory in that one. And then the Bucks beat the Hawks in their semifinal round. It was a pretty back and forth game, and then in the fourth quarter, the Bucks kind of took over at that point. Giannis is continuing his MVP campaign with a 30-point near triple-double. He was 1 assist shy from getting that triple-double. He had a few blocks in there as well, including a super impressive one on a lob attempt to Clint Capella. It reminded me a lot of his block on DeAndre Ayton in the finals. All around great performance from Giannis. Dame, he didn't shoot the ball the best, but I feel like he started to heat up towards the second, third quarter of that game, and he had a pretty productive game. And shout out to Brook Lopez too. He's been struggling on offense, but last game he was pretty solid, hit a couple threes, played some great defense as well. And all that leads up to this moment right here, the NBA Cup Finals. You have the two #1 seeds on each side of the bracket facing off against each other. You have the star power involved in this game. I'm super excited for this one. It should be a pretty good one. And when I'm looking at these two teams match up on paper, I do have to give the slight edge to OKC. I do think it's pretty close, and I can see an argument for each team, and considering it's a one-game elimination, it definitely could go both ways, but I'm definitely going to be riding with OKC on this one. The one thing I am kind of concerned about, and the reason why I can see it going both ways, is the Thunder have literally no one to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know that he's playing at this super high level, and almost no one in the NBA can really guard Giannis, but when you look at the options OKC has, they really don't have any solid ones. The Thunder don't really have any super big wings that they can really put on Giannis. When you look at their top defenders, you have Lu Dort, who's 6'4". He's stocky, but 6'4" compared to Giannis's near 7 foot. I don't really know how much he's going to be able to do. And then also you got Alex Caruso, he's 6'6". Definitely don't really want him on Giannis like that. J-Dub, he's 6'6". Again, don't really want him on Giannis like that. What I would assume they probably end up doing is put Isaiah Hartenstein on Giannis for a majority of the game. I mean, he's the only guy that's close to Giannis in size and strength. I do worry a little bit about his lateral quickness. For a center, he is pretty solid defensively on the perimeter and pick and rolls and all of that. But, I mean, Giannis is another beast. They just really don't have anyone with a combination of size, strength, and mobility that can keep up with Giannis. So I could definitely see Giannis having a crazy game like he normally does. Everyone in OKC's rotation besides Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, who's obviously out for injury right now, is between 6'4" and 6'6". And again, there's pretty much no one in the NBA that can guard Giannis, but there's some guys that do it better than others. Usually people in that 6'8" to 6'10" range, the lengthy guys, the guys that can move around. I'm thinking in my head a Jonathan Isaac archetype, even a Jason Tatum body type would be way better to put on Giannis than anyone that OKC really has. But the fact that OKC's rotation pretty much consists of everyone being 6'4" to 6'6", that does have some benefits. Obviously, they are the #1 defense in the NBA for a reason, and that's because their main strength with their personnel is switching. They pretty much just switch everything 1 through 4, 1 through 5 sometimes, and just kind of lock in, keep ball in front of them, and that's it. And in the Bucks matchup with the Hawks, I saw Dame was having a lot of trouble with Dyson Daniels guarding him, and then once he started to really get going later in the game, it was on possessions where they would set up in the pick and roll, Dyson would be guarding him, they would switch, so now he would have a Jalen Johnson on him, or a Clint Capella in some situations too, and that is a much better option for Dame to go up against. And I think that plays a huge part in what got Dame back on track and able to get some shots to fall later in the game. But when I look at this OKC team, there's no real favorable matchup when you get that switch. Unless you're just going to be going after Isaiah Hartenstein constantly. I mean, I guess he's probably the biggest mismatch on the court. But again, he's a great pick and roll defender. He can guard on the perimeter for some spurts. You know, he's able to move his feet a little bit. He's not really a mismatch that you really want to be hunting. So that basically means that Dame is going to be guarded by any combination of Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Shea. Any of those 5 guys are going to be on him every second he touches the court. That's definitely going to make it a little bit difficult for him to get going. And then when you look on the flip side of that, when you talk about the Bucks guarding OKC, one of the Bucks' biggest weakness really is the fact that they don't have a good perimeter defender on their roster. Shout out to Ajax, he's pretty solid, and AJ Green I think is very underrated. But they don't really have like one guy that I'm confident in guarding Shea or guarding J-Dub. They're definitely going to have to do it as a committee with Andre Jackson in there, AJ Green, Gary Trent, Taurean Prince. All 4 of those guys are definitely going to have to do their own thing and pull their own weight in order to try to slow down these guys. And then one of the absolute biggest reasons why I ultimately am picking OKC over Milwaukee is the fact that if this game gets into transition a lot, the Bucks are cooked. Like, there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to keep up with OKC. You know, just the fact that OKC leads the league in steals and gets out in transition so often, and the Bucks are the fourth worst defense in transition. That's just a recipe for disaster in my eyes. I feel like OKC's bread and butter is literally to force transition, and if that's the case, man, the Bucks might not really stand a chance. So with all that being said, I am expecting a really big performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think he's going to have near 40 points, maybe even close to a triple-double again like he had last game. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And if I'm correct, that would mean that the OKC Thunder would be your 2024 NBA Cup champions. I think it's going to be a very fun thing for this young team to really accomplish early on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, though. Who do you think will win this finals game? And to make it fun, who do you think is going to win MVP? I guess my pick, since I think OKC is going to win, I'm going to give it to Shea. Sorry if this video was a little shorter than normal, but I mean, realistically, I'm just covering one singular game in this one. So, you know, I did the best that I can. Hope you guys still enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.